If you've ever felt like your mind is a busy room where too many ideas are talking at the same time, stay with me for a moment. Because what if the reason you feel scattered, restless, or too much isn't a flaw at all? What if it's actually a sign that your brain was designed for something rare? From the outside, it can look like confusion. From the inside, it feels like curiosity that never shuts off. One week, you're obsessed with psychology. The next, you're learning design. Then suddenly you want to start a business, right? Travel or study philosophy at 2 a.m. People tell you to just pick one thing. But that advice never sits right with you. And here's the truth. Most people won't tell you some minds are not built to live in one box. Some minds are built to connect many boxers. And if you're listening to Silent Psychology right now, this message might be exactly what your brain has been waiting to hear. Before we go deeper, let me say this quickly, because it really helps this channel grow. If content like this makes you feel understood, hit like and subscribe. Silent Psychology is all about their thoughts we don't say out loud, and you're already part of that space. Now, let's continue. Having too many interests is often labeled as a problem. Society praises focus, specialization, and sticking to one clear path. From school to career advice, the message is repeated again and again. Choose one thing. Master it, ignore the rest. So when your interests keep multiplying instead of narrowing, you may feel like you're doing life wrong. You start questioning yourself. Why can't I stay consistent? Why do I get bored so fast? Why does my passion change every few months? But what if the real issue isn't your lack of focus, but the system trying to force a narrow path onto a wide mind? Polymath minds don't move in straight lines. They move in patterns. They jump, explore, collect, and connect. A polymath isn't someone who can't decide. It's someone who can see value in many worlds at once. Historically, polymaths were artists who studied science, philosophers who understood math, inventors who wrote poetry. Today, the world often forgets that this way of thinking exists. But the brain hasn't changed. Only the expectations have. If you have too many interests, your brain is likely driven by curiosity, not chaos. Curiosity is a powerful force. It's the same force that pushes humans to explore, to invent, to question reality. But when curiosity doesn't fit neatly into a job title or social label, it can turn inward and become self-doubt. You might feel guilty for moving on too fast. You might feel behind because others seem so certain. But certainty is not the same as depth, and speed is not the same as direction. One of the biggest misunderstandings about people with many interests is that they lack discipline. In reality, many polymath-type minds are highly disciplined when they are engaged. The problem isn't discipline. The problem is boredom. When the mind is no longer learning, it disconnects. And that disconnection feels like failure in a world that rewards repetition over exploration. You may have noticed that your best ideas come when different interests collide. Psychology meets storytelling. Business meets creativity. Logic meets emotion. That's not random. That's integration. Polymath minds are pattern builders. They see connections others miss because they've explored more than one landscape. This is why many innovative thinkers don't follow traditional paths. They create new ones. But here's the emotional side that's rarely talked about. Having too many interests can feel lonely. People may not fully understand you. When you talk about your ideas, others may say you're all over the place. Over time, you might start shrinking yourself to fit in. You stop sharing, you stop exploring. You try to become simpler than you really are. And that's where frustration and anxiety begin. Your mind was not designed to be quiet all the time. It was designed to be alive. The key is not forcing yourself into one identity, but learning how to organize your curiosity without killing it. Polymaths don't need fewer interests. They need better frameworks. They need permission to be multi-dimensional. Another truth is that many people with multiple interests are deeply sensitive to meaning. You are not just looking for success. You're looking for purpose. You want your work, your learning, and your life to feel connected. That's why shallow focus doesn't satisfy you for long. You are searching for understanding, not just achievement. In silent psychology, we often talk about how the mind reacts to pressure, and pressure to figure it all out can shut down a curious brain. When you stop trusting your natural rhythm, you lose confidence. But confidence doesn't come from having one answer. It comes from trusting your ability to adapt, learn, and evolve. You don't need to do everything at once. And you don't need to give everything up except one thing. The real balance is allowing seasons. Some interests come forward, others rest. Nothing is wasted. Every skill, every curiosity, every phase adds to your mental library. Even the interests you leave behind shape how you think. If you've ever felt like you're starting over too many times, remember this: you're not starting over. You're building sideways. And sideways growth often looks invisible until suddenly it isn't. Many people don't see the value of connection until the moment everything clicks. As this video continues, I want you to reflect on one thing. What if your confusion is actually unrecognized complexity? What if the thing you've been criticizing yourself for is the very thing that makes your perspective valuable? And if this message resonates even a little, let me know you're here. Drop a comment near the end of this video about how many interests you're rejuggling right now. Someone else reading it will feel less alone because of you. And if you know someone who constantly feels misunderstood for being too curious, share this with them. Sometimes one shared thought can change how someone sees themselves. Your mind doesn't need to be smaller. It needs to be understood. And here on Silent Psychology, that understanding starts by listening instead of judging.